My daughter banned me from her wedding, so I secretly canceled the whole thing I paid for. My daughter Jessica got engaged to her boyfriend Derek last March. I was happy for her. Derek seemed like a nice guy, had a decent job, treated her well. The problem started when Jessica's future mother-in-law Patricia got involved in the wedding planning. Patricia is one of those women who needs to control everything. Within 2 weeks of the engagement, she was texting me daily about venue options, color schemes, and guest lists. I tried to be nice about it, but this was my only daughter's wedding and I was paying for the entire thing, all $35,000 of it. My late husband and I had been saving for Jessica's wedding since she was born. He passed away 3 years ago, and I promised him I'd make sure our little girl had the wedding of her dreams. So I booked the venue Jessica wanted, hired the photographer she loved, and put down deposits on everything. Patricia hated all of it. She complained that the venue was too small, said the photographer's style was too modern, even criticized the flowers Jessica picked out. But the worst part was how she talked to Jessica privately, planting seeds of doubt about every decision. Jessica started second-guessing everything. One day in June, Jessica called me crying, said she needed to talk. We met for coffee, and she told me Patricia thought I was being controlling about the wedding, that I wasn't respecting Derek's family's traditions. I was shocked. Every single choice had been Jessica's. I was just writing the checks. I asked Jessica what traditions Patricia was talking about. She got quiet and said Patricia wanted Derek's family to handle certain parts of the ceremony, wanted their priest to officiate instead of our family friend, wanted to invite 40 extra people from their side, all things that would cost more money that Patricia wasn't offering to pay for. I told Jessica this was her wedding and she could do whatever made her happy, but I also reminded her that I was paying for everything and there was a budget. Jessica got defensive and said maybe I was being controlling, that maybe Patricia had a point. Over the next month, things got worse. Patricia convinced Jessica to fire the photographer I'd already paid a deposit to, said she knew someone better who happened to be Derek's cousin. Jessica didn't even ask me first, just sent me a text saying it was done. I lost the $2,000 deposit. Then Patricia wanted to change the venue to some country club her family belonged to. Again, Jessica just informed me after the fact I'd lose another $5,000 in deposits. When I tried to talk to Jessica about it, she accused me of trying to ruin her wedding, said I was making everything about me instead of her happiness. The final straw came 3 weeks ago. Jessica sent me an email, not even a phone call, an email saying that Patricia felt my presence at the wedding would create tension, that maybe it would be better if I didn't come to the ceremony. I could come to the reception after, but Derek's family should have the ceremony to themselves since they were more involved in the planning. I read that email 5 times. My own daughter was uninviting me from her wedding, the wedding I was paying for, because her future mother-in-law decided I was the problem. I didn't respond right away. I needed time to think. That night, I pulled out every contract, every receipt, every deposit slip. Everything was in my name. I was the client, the venues, the caterer, the florist, all of it. They didn't need Jessica's permission to make changes. They needed mine. The next morning, I started making phone calls. I canceled the venue and got 60% of my deposit back since it was more than 90 days out. Canceled the caterer and the florist. Canceled the band, the cake, the decorations, everything. Some vendors were nice about it, others less so. But by the end of the week, there was no wedding. I didn't tell Jessica. I just waited. 2 weeks later, my phone exploded with calls and texts. Jessica was hysterical. The venue had called to confirm final headcount and told her everything was canceled. The caterer, the florist, everyone had the same story. Someone named Linda, me, had canceled all the services. Jessica called me screaming, demanding to know what I did. I stayed calm and said since I wasn't invited to the wedding, I assumed my financial contribution wasn't needed either, that Patricia could pay for the wedding she'd been planning. Jessica started crying, saying I was ruining her life, that I was being selfish and cruel. I told her the money her father and I saved was for our daughter's wedding, a wedding we'd be present for. If she wanted Patricia to plan everything and exclude me, then Patricia could fund it too. Jessica hung up on me. Patricia called an hour later. She wasn't crying. She was angry. Started yelling about how I was manipulating Jessica and playing victim. I let her finish, then said, congratulations, the wedding is now your responsibility. She went silent and hung up. 3 days later, Jessica showed up at my house. Her eyes were red from crying. She said Derek's family couldn't afford to pay for a wedding, that Patricia had been making all these demands knowing I was paying, that now Derek wanted to postpone everything until they could save up money. Jessica apologized, said she let Patricia manipulate her and she was wrong to uninvite me. I looked at my daughter and said I'd think about reinstating everything, but Patricia was no longer involved in any decisions, and Jessica needed to learn that the person paying gets a say in how their money is spent. We're rebuilding the wedding now. Smaller, simpler, just the people who actually matter. Patricia hasn't spoken to me since, and honestly, I'm fine with that. And